everyone, and today we are working around the house doing some money saving things to save you money every day in this coming winter season. Fall has begun officially, and it is time to be thinking about daylight savings time and setting those clocks back for fall and winterizing the house so that you're nice and cozy in the winter. And I'm going to share with you some money saving tips that you can do today that are going to help you in the next few months. Now, I know a lot of you know about these old incandescent light bulbs, that they can use up a lot of energy. And did you know that your electric company can come out and give you a home evaluation? They will give you several LEDs or incandescent light bulbs. A lot of these old houses have outlets with multiple bulbs, and if you have 2 bulbs burnt out on a 3 bulb light and you're not getting up there and changing that burnt out bulb, you're still trying to electrify that socket, because as long as that switch is on, there's a little starter in here. It happens in fluorescent bulbs all the time where they flicker. That is taking power to try and light that up. So we're going to get light bulbs in here. The new LED light bulbs that look like an incandescent are a lot better than these old fluorescent bulbs. This is just something that was sent to me, so we're going to go ahead and use it. Now, I mentioned that an LED bulb that looks like an incandescent light bulb is better than the fluorescent bulbs. Here is why. If you go into a home that has been given these light bulbs, especially like in this case in a rental property, people don't realize that these are losing brightness over time, and a lot of times they don't burn out. They just get dimmer and dimmer, and suddenly you're at the eye doctor spending hundreds of dollars for a new prescription, or maybe you never wore glasses before and you realize, hey, it's that I need light bulbs in my house. Ding, ding, ding. Turn the lights on, put some fresh bulbs in, and you'll be able to see. Just with this one fixture being burnt out in this kitchen, it made the room so dark because it's a split ceiling with a soffit dividing from the other light, and it really needed this second section lit up. Now, it might seem like a simple thing, but as long as you're up there changing the bulb, clean your globe cover if you have one, because dust collects on this, bugs collect on the inside. I don't know where they come from or how they get in there, but you are reducing how much light is getting through these. And just a tip, if you have a clear glass over a frosted glass or a tinted glass, you are allowing more light to filter into the room than on a frosted or tinted one. So keep that in mind if you're replacing any light fixtures. Keep any bulb sockets filled with working bulbs, and keep your covers clean. Now, here's one you may not have thought of. A simple 3-way light bulb in any lamp can save you electricity, in that you are controlling the brightness you need depending on the time of day. A lot of lamps require 60 watts or less in each socket, and a lot of these 3-way bulbs will go, I believe it's 30, 50, and 100, and I think you can even get them higher, up to 150 if possible. Now, in our basement, in areas that we don't use often, we'll go ahead and put a 100-watt or a 200-watt equivalent in an LED, and in the former like incandescent bulbs, to light an area like in a dark pantry where you're just in there for seconds. It's okay to go ahead and beat that up so that you can see what you're looking for. The secret to that is, don't put them in the kids' playroom section of the basement, because they'll leave those lights on and that bill is going to sneak up on you. Now, a neat thing about this house, and it's common in a lot of older houses where the electrical was done separately for wall outlets for lamps and ceilings, so that you can have one lamp on a switch, so that if you don't need the entire room lit up, you can have just a single lamp on. So then you can reduce that usage from 3 bulbs in a ceiling light to 1 bulb in a lamp, and again, using that adjustable 3-way bulb to increase the light as the day goes by as you need. Now, as charming as these old houses are with their original windows, you're gonna wanna go ahead and check your windows for leaks. These old windows actually have removable screens that a storm window goes in its place, and you store the screen during the winter months. But that storm window isn't gonna do you a lot of good if it's not in good condition. We've got some caulking here to do around the edges. This was just recently painted. We'll go ahead and pop out this window screen, and we're gonna check the caulking on the interior window, because then it becomes a double pane glass, even in an old single pane. Now, I recently sold my old home, and it had single pane windows with this, with newer aluminum storm windows. And wouldn't you know, that house inspector came in and told the home buyer that you really should consider replacing these windows because they have zero R value at this point. Guess what? Windows don't have an R value. There's glass. There's no insulation. He was incorrect in saying that. He was totally wrong, and he scared the pants off of a home buyer thinking that they needed to go put brand new windows in. And I knew what he said wrong, and I corrected him, and he said, "Oh yes, you're correct. They do not have an R value." Argon gas, new windows and all that are measured in different levels than in R values of insulation. So draft proofing your windows, if you have to seal them in plastic if they're drafty, if you have to add storm windows on the outside, you're going to improve the comfort of your home and save energy. A good tell if your windows are in need of caulk is if you have gaps like this. This old caulking or putty has gotten hard, window glazing, and it's coming out. So we're gonna chip off anything that's loose here like this, and we're gonna go ahead and replace it with new. You can see here at some point somebody has done this window. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do that little touch-up spot, and that's gonna help seal out drafts right at the source where the wind is blowing in the window. So in this house, we always store the old storm windows in the basement, and this is a perfect job to do any time of year because I can sit these out on some boards, on some sawhorses, and I can go through and I can caulk all of my windows to make sure that when I put them in, they're ready to go, and they'll be getting a new coat of fresh paint so that they match the outside of the house that's just been painted. Now, a lot of time, old storm windows don't have any caulking at all. Occasionally, they have window points and glazing. These old windows are held on just with wood strips. So when I'm done scraping before I paint, I'm going to put a real thin bead of this acrylic latex caulk. This has silicone in it, so it is a longer lasting 35-year durability guarantee. This is made by DAP. This is readily available at any of your big box stores. It's a known brand that has been around for many, many years. This is the same caulk that I use on the basement windows, the door windows, and all of my exterior windows. So everything that's getting switched out with storm windows is gonna get a shot of this. At only a few dollars a tube, it's a big game changer. I can tell you the last time we painted this house was about 18 years ago, and those windows weren't caulked then, and I'm sure they're long overdue. Now, I'm not advocating for just sticking with the old and never going new. Some of this old stuff has lost its ability to be weather tight. There's not weather stripping on these old windows. You can get a lot of that stuff in these energy saving kits. You can go to Home Depot, you can do it at Menards, you can do it at Lowe's. You can go to your local hardware store and you can get weather stripping kits that go on your windows, go on your doors, and you can do this yourself. You don't have to wait for somebody to come in your home and tell you what to do, and that's why you're here watching this video today. Speaking of which, if this video is helping you and you like these sorts of videos, share it out. It helps the channel tremendously. Hit the like button and subscribe, because we're always doing these home repair videos to help you. We're already doing it anyways on our own, and we're just thinking, hey, somebody is going to benefit from this who doesn't know. The things I didn't know at 20, 25 years old when I bought my first home and had to start learning and doing these repairs on my own, there was no YouTube to learn from back then. My parents didn't do their own home repairs. What a change. Things have happened. What a change has come over my life in the last 25 or 30 years. So the same thing goes for these old, simple screen doors. They're not doing anything in adding any added protection for your interior door because it's just a screen panel, and it's also not protecting the inside door from any weather, any rain, any drafts. So we're on the lookout for a replacement screen door with a storm door addition because these original storm doors are long gone. One thing you can do is to make sure that you have draft blockers or seals on the edges of your doors. I've gone ahead, I've already added an aluminum strip. It's got a rubber gasket that goes around the edge of the door, and that really helps improve a lot. And also on this door, you want to make sure that your foot plate has a good seal here, and that's going to help block any drafts that go underneath. If this is missing, you can get a replacement for it. You can even grab a sweep type seal weather strip to add to this part of your door on the bottom, and that will help seal any gap in there as well. And then on the interior of your door, these are single pane glass. You want to make sure that you're in good repair. I'm ready for a paint job here, and that'll get done soon. But you can even add a putty or a caulk right here to help block any draft on the inside and outside of the window. Now, a good glass company can actually make you double paned glass inserts for that door if you like a bit of an upgrade there and keep that old-fashioned look, because it's really hard to replace an old door with a new door and keep that cute look. This house is a beautiful Cape Cod, and unfortunately the front door was damaged and we had to replace it. This was as close as we could get to something that looked good and was appealing, but again, we went ahead, we added that aluminum weather stripping here along the edge, and we made sure that this door is draft free, and it too will be getting a new storm door before winter. And when I say a new storm door, I mean a new to us storm door. Shop around. You can buy storm windows, storm doors, screen doors, anything like that on Facebook. I have even seen people giving away or selling used insulation, batting, blown-in insulation, anything you can do to help add another layer of R value, draft and weather protection, and energy savings for your home. Now, as you can see, this old air conditioner has been around for a lot of years, and one of the energy savings tips we did this year was to put it out of use. It was getting too old and inefficient, and it wasn't keeping up with the home. This is going to be slated for replacement for next season. In the meantime, we're running much more efficient window fans and window air conditioner units on the days that we need. We've been really fortunate in the heat of the days that this house is quite sheltered by these large old maple trees, and it's really cut down on our energy usage by discontinuing the use of that old air conditioner. So see right here in this room, I've got a low energy use window fan sucking air out on one side of the house, pulling it in on the other so that we have a good airflow going out, and we're taking air from the cool side of the house and flushing it out. In the evening, we'll reverse the fans because the sun won't be on this side, and we'll go ahead and get that airflow going the other way. Now, your gas company provider and your electric company provider often have rebate programs for upgrading your equipment, your furnace, your refrigerator, sometimes washers and dryers, adding insulation, adding windows, adding new doors to your home. So look into that, because generally that money is limited. I'm in Michigan, and my current electric company has a recycling program. They will come and pick up old appliances. This was an old beer fridge running in the garage. It still works fine. It's rusty, it's garbagey. The coils are dirty because it's been left out in the garage. And is it really worth having this full-size fridge in the garage to keep a hidden 6 or 12 pack of pop or a 6-pack of beer away from the kids in the house fridge, or making space for that? No way, it's not. This whole portable room dehumidifier is also slated on the recycling program. You get $50 for a refrigerator and I believe it's $20 for each small appliance. So mini fridge, window air conditioners, dehumidifiers, they'll take that small stuff and recycle it for you, and they pay you for it. The caveat can be, ours is coming out of Detroit into the Lansing area because we're right on the edge of service. And they say they want you to be there to pick it up on whatever day you make the appointment, and they want it working. They have never told me, plug it in, we want to see it working, and they have taken non-working appliances. If they don't, they don't. They have a local band recycling program where they do scrap metal, and they will gladly take it and use that money to buy band instruments. I've also got a really old window air conditioner unit that we removed. It still works great, but boy, you know that's an energy sucker with that size. And it's one of those old, like 10,000 BTUs that can cool a whole house. It works fabulous, but no energy savings. Watch for that little Energy Star label when you buy things, even if you're buying them used on Facebook, because you can save so much money by upgrading your appliances that way. So as ugly as they are, this pile is going away on Thursday, and they are going to give me a $90 gift card in exchange for this pile of junk. And I know it doesn't look like much, but in a rental house, having a working set of appliances is key, and having something that is usable, low energy. This was a $100 used refrigerator, and this is a $500 refrigerator at like Best Buy. So years ago, I was able to sell the old appliances from this house, pass them along to somebody else who wanted them for a rental, working units, was able to upgrade mine by like 10, 15, 20 years newer. I got a new refrigerator, a new washer and dryer. I got a new electric stove so that we could eliminate gas coming into the house at all, which is much safer, in my opinion, with having rental people who aren't familiar with gas. Also, it's a lot easier with those rental people not having a separate utility bill to pay, and then things start getting bundled easier for them. I also was able to get an above unit vent microwave, because this house has very little counter space, no dishwasher, and with the $90 from back there for those appliances, guess what? You can use it anywhere. I can use that on my PayPal and turn around and use that money to pay somebody through PayPal or whatever for used appliances on Facebook, Craigslist. Now, it's not a beautiful new modern bathroom, but this bathroom had pink fixtures when we bought it many years ago. We went ahead. I actually found this Glacier Bay toilet from a new home build that they wanted a different style. I picked it up for $50. It wasn't even used before the house was sold for the new owners. It wasn't a model home or anything. It was a new build. They said, no, we didn't want that. Low flow. It's like a 1 gallon flush. It works perfectly. So an easy upgrade while we were at it is we took those old, ugly fixtures off of the sink and changed our lights here so that we had more efficient lights. And again, they've got an on-off switch right here so that we can turn them off and use one at a time if necessary. And this is a water-saving shower head we were able to add by Waterpik, and it is reducing the gallons going through it so much that you don't have to worry about a teenage kid in the shower taking too long, using too much water, and upping your water bill at the same time. It's not just electric that we're after all the savings. Now, one thing to talk about here is an option that not everybody has. We have a wood-burning fireplace in this house. Now, these wood-burning fireplaces can be quite inefficient. You can lose 80 to 90% of the heat from the fire straight up the chimney. We added this new enclosure here many, many years ago. I'm actually on the search right now for what's called a fireplace insert. And you can have a gas-powered insert or a wood-fired insert. Wood is free. In our area, a tornado went by recently, and there is free firewood to be had. You can heat your whole home on a wood fireplace with an insert, an add-on furnace that's wood in the basement. You can save so much money just by making that one little switch. Now, a lot of people don't start thinking about where they can save money in the basement, and I will tell you, you can save so much money in your basement by one simple little thing and a single roll of batting insulation. The end of your floor joist in this outer wall, there is just a 2x6, just like this, facing out with no insulation, no protection for heat loss between the inside and outside of your home. You take these bats, you're cutting that 6 inches, so easy, and stuffing it in there, and you are suddenly warmer in your basement. Now, if you wanted to take a step further to insulating your basement, you can simply glue on foam insulation on all your cement walls. You can take it a step further and you can build them out with furring strips in 2x4s. You can buy yourself a cement nailer and go nuts. See how these projects can snowball? I'd love to do it. My long-term plan for this basement is to add strapping, add insulation, and drywall the whole basement. So the laundry room is going to be getting some work here, but I will tell you, a huge money-saving thing is to make sure that you are running good appliances. This washer and dryer are much newer, smaller capacity than some of them that are out there, and they're just the right size for a 2 to 4 person home. You don't want to be running full-size loads when you've only got a half-size load to do. You want to set your settings right where you need them. So we're going to go ahead and set this to medium, and see here where we're cool. We're going to switch that to cold. When it's on cool, you're still blending some warm water in there. And today's laundry soaps work so efficiently on cold that you don't need that hot water or warm water wash. And if you need a couple more tips, you want to make sure that your lint clean out is cleaned out every cycle on your dryer. Sometimes they have a built-in strip right here. Sometimes it's built into the top, and you want to pull that out and clean it every time. And always make sure that you're running your furnace with a clean filter, because that's going to save you so much in the cold months. So a great tip in money savings in the laundry department is to remember to hang your clothes on a clothesline, whether it's outside or in the basement, dependent on the time of the year. You can't always pick if it's a rainy day or if it is cold outside or humid, but in the wintertime, when you hang your clothes in your basement, you're helping to humidify your house at the same time. So if you have a very dry house, I highly recommend that. And you got to think of, in the olden days, like my grandma, she had a wringer washer in her kitchen, and that's all she had. Everything either got hung on a clothesline in the back of the kitchen, and in the summertime, out on a clothesline in the sun. It saves a lot of money. It's not that much extra work. It's enjoyable to lay in a bed with those fresh sun-dried sheets, no matter what. And if you don't like the stiffness, you can always run a hot iron over them, or you can tumble them dry on air only to get that softness. Now, for your own safety and your family's use, you always want to make sure that your water heater is working properly and that you don't have it set too high. This is an older unit and it does not have temperature settings. It's just got hot, medium, and warm. We're going to want to turn this down to warm, and that's going to save quite a bit of money. Also, if you have the degrees on there, you never want that water over 120 degrees to make sure that nobody in the family can get scalded. Now, as you can see, this unit warranty expired in January of 1984. This is long overdue for a replacement, and we're actually going to get an energy efficient electric water heater in here. A good tip to know is that for every 10 degrees that you lower that water heater, you're saving 3 to 5% on your usage. Another good option, besides reducing the heat, is to always insulate it in a basement with a water heater insulating blanket. It's just a few dollars, and you might be able to get that on that energy home savings evaluation from the electric company or gas company coming out to your home. Now, one big change that I had to make in this house was some insulation in the attic. That vent right behind me there is in the top of the garage, and there's some arborvitae bushes that I was just standing in front of downstairs. The raccoons had found a way to climb those, pry those vents apart, and get down into the roof area of this little porch behind me, and they got into the attic right behind me. This attic space was totally uninsulated. They pushed this vent out, and they were in the house. They didn't get into anything. It was vacant in between tenants, and they left their proof because they tore everything up that they could get their tiny little hands on. And those raccoons are long gone now, but now it's time to get in there and insulate that space. Now in this case, the wall here is insulated, but then the roof wall is not insulated. The problem was this cold air vent. They were able to get into it somehow and push that open. I thought a nice little cubby door here would be a good way to access that, because it also goes into this room here. And all they had to do was to get into this section here. And I shined my flashlight in here today, and right inside of there, I could see the inside roof rafters. There's only insulation on the floor and on its interior wall. So cold air was leaking right into here from that space. Things have changed a lot from 1950 when this house was built, and most cold air returns now are a circulating system, not just something going into your attic space. So to insulate our attic space, we've picked up some R11, some R13, and some R25, depending on where we are insulating. So this whole attic room has been insulated to the depth that we could get. You can only insulate with whatever R value depth you have space for. So on this inside section, we only had 6 inches to be able to go. Where on this wall, we only had 4 inches depth, and this is the outside wall of that room I was just in. So we could only go with an R13 to go for that depth. We might have been able to go a little bit deeper if we had wanted to wait for when things got back in stock. We have come out of this whole pandemic thing, and it seems like there are shortages with companies, and we're just always trying to get by with getting the job done, and you can always upgrade later. And by upgrading later, it may be a matter of adding foam or something like that on this inner layer that's not in living space. So the last thing I can think to share with you is on the dishwasher. Now this is money savings for electricity and water usage. Here in the city, the water usage is by the 1,000 gallons, and you don't want to be running a regular normal cycle or a long cycle when you could be running a light soil cycle. I know a lot of people rinse their dishes and kind of pre-wash them. You don't need that long cycle if you're already doing that. And today's dishwasher soaps are so much more efficient than some of the older ones with the washing pods, even the liquid detergents. That choose that stuff carefully, because if you're trying to save money on the detergent, you might be having to run a longer cycle in the long run to make up for over soaping. So a thing that happens quite often is that people will run a half-loaded dishwasher, run it full, wait until it's full, and a big tip, peak hour savings. Check with your electric company and find out when they're charging you the most money. In our area during this time of year, from 3 to 7 p.m., you are using premium pricing on your electric power consumption. So if you wait and run this on a delayed cycle, delay 2, 4, or 6 hours, you can set it to run and go to bed later on, or make sure that it's not running during those peak cycles by hitting 2 hours when it's 5 o'clock, so that you know, hey, it's not going to come on until after 7, and save you some money. That's especially important if you're running an electric water heater, because again, you want to be using the least amount as possible. So on this washing machine, we have heavy wash, normal wash, light wash, and rinse only. Use them. Think smart. Don't work harder at work to just give your money away to the electric company. Do everything you can to save your money. In our house, I hand wash all the pots and pans. We don't need the tough scrub. We don't need the sanitize. We don't need the heat and dry. And I certainly don't need the high temperature wash, because you know what? We are mostly doing that work on our own when we're rinsing our dishes, just to stack them up so they're not gross. So remember, if home is where your heart is, do you want to be off at work to just give that money away? Not me. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Remember, thumbs up and subscribe. Bye-bye.